Hello, so today we will be analyzing round 4 of the Metro East Summer Chess Bonanza. This is a standard tournament. There are 6 rounds and 2 days, 3 rounds per day. And I think my score last time was like 1.2.5 out of 3. Was it? Yeah, it was 2.5 out of 3. So going into this game, I had 2.5 out of 3 versus my opponent who also had a 2.5 out of 3 score. I was playing as the white pieces in this game, and my and here I go for e4. My opponent is 1900 rated, by the way, and here they go for b6. And b6 here is known as the Owens defense, and the computer doesn't like it that much, but I don't think it's a bad opening at all because there's no immediate win. Basically, you give up the full center with an idea of putting the bishop here, playing e6 in the future here. And this can also come out of the French defense over here. Oh, not d3. Wait, not d3, d4, and then b6. I know this variation. I see it a lot, so bishop to d3 is usually what I play against the French. Let's say this. I play bishop d3 against the French too, but they go b6. I go d4, they go bishop to b7. I go bishop to d3, defending the pawn, and here they go for knight to f6, attacking the pawn a second time. Here I go for knight to c3, and after e6 here, I made a mistake. I played f4, and this is a mistake. What I should have done instead of f4, was a3. Something like a3, or, knight ge2 to defend the knight. Why? Well, because after knight to c3, they played e6, opening up their bishop. And after I go f4, well, they can just go bishop to b4. I mean, pinning the knight to the king. And queen to e2 is the only move to defend the pawn because um, if you go for something like bishop to d2, then there's just bishop takes c3, and you're losing. Because after something like bishop takes, there's just knight takes here, here, and here. And even though this is an opposite colored bishop ending, um, you're not in the end game yet. So yeah, you're gonna have to hope that it's a draw here. Instead of that, I just play queen d2 to defend the pawn. They go d5, and here I take, which is a mistake. Probably would have been better to play e4, but I was annoyed at knight to e4. Here I could have just went bishop d2. There's queen to h4. g3. Knight takes. What is this variation? And queen to f2. What? I did not see that variation before. This is a confusing variation. What is this? Then knight to f5, and they're just up a pawn. Bishop takes, queen takes, takes. And white's argument here is that the bishop can't activate, I guess. This is a weird variation. E takes, they go queen takes. Here, apparently, castles is the best move. Crazy. Sacrificing a pawn. Essentially saying that if you take, um, black's just developing all their pieces. And after takes, they're gonna go rook takes f7. If you go here for bishop to c4, there is just knight takes d4. Hitting this, hitting that. And if you take the bishop, the rook would check, king takes, and then say, let's say queen to c4, king to f8. And even though you're up 3 points of material, the engine is saying you're down 3 points of material. And yes, you can take this with check, but c5 here, and you're just losing here. Because let's say queen to e4 to defend this, there's just b5. Let's say you take. There's queen to e8 check forking, so you lose. And additionally, they can always take the pawn here on g2. Apparently, that's the idea of the engine. But instead, they take with the queen, and here I just develop the knight. They go for knight to e4 here, hitting the knight a second time. Here I just developed the bishop, and now I'm putting a tempo on the queen. Now you have to take, and here I just take with this pawn, and the bishop takes c3 was better, but I was like, okay, they're gonna take the bishop anyway. So I took with the b pawn instead. They take the bishop, and we get to this position where black is a little bit better because they have a healthier pawn structure. As you can see, my pawns, even though I have a queen side majority here, 4 pawns against 3, they're doubled. So like it's kind of just a 3-on-3 here, while they have a 4-on-3 over at the king side, right? But I can't really use these four pawns effectively. I'd have to undouble them first. That is one of the plans for white here, to undouble these pawns. But it also comes with a problem, is that when I undouble these pawns and then overextend them, this pawn becomes weak. So I can't just push c4 easily in some positions because they can take in some of those positions. They go for knight to c6 here, and here I just castle. They castle, and suddenly I'm a little bit better. Why? It's better to castle at the long side. Why? Well, because in the opposite side positions, you usually white pushes queen side pawns against the black's king's queen side castle, and black pushes the king side pawns. Black has a 4-on-3, and white has a 4-on-3 and an open b file. But even though it's it looks more unsafe here, at least you get more defenders compared to castling to the long side. Where are the defenders? Only these 3 pawns and the rook. And there is no knight here, so there's always bishop takes, h7 lurking in the air. Here I was already thinking about taking the pawn here. Bishop takes h7. I was already thinking about this for around like 5 minutes or 10, can't remember. But I was thinking about this for like a long time. Uh, but I was like, okay, knight g5. Yeah, there's, let's say, king g8. I go queen d3. I couldn't find what to do here after something like queen to f5, because they defend and they're threatening to trade queens because they're of material, and I can't go here to because first of all it's not a threat, and second they're just gonna take. So I decided to play c4, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to undouble these c pawns in the future using either this b or e pawn. They go queen to d6 here, and I was thinking about bishop takes h7, which is still a blunder because now after all of this, they just have queen takes d4 check, trading off the queens defended by the knight. And here I was also thinking about d5, but it's not good because after takes, they're not gonna take and help you win the game like this. No, that's not gonna happen. Instead, they're going to play a very strong move, knight to b4. And after I defend the pawn here, they're going to take my very strong bishop who's aiming at that h7 pawn. After I take, uh, black is just better here because they just take this and there's nothing. So, if you evaluate this, we have a bishop against knight. Admittedly, the knight is better because his bishop is limited, but black has the extra pawn. White also has these hanging pawns over here, and they're just better. So, I don't want to go into that. So I decided to play c3 to prevent this knight to b4 stuff in the future. They go for rook a d8. And here, bishop takes h7 is already nice. But it's not the best move. Bishop takes h7 here. King takes h7, knight to g5, and the position is complicated here. Why? Well, if king g8, queen to d3 just wins the game. f5, I just go here. Queen h3. And rook f3 is forced according to the engine, and queen h7, king f8. And here just d5, not even taking the exchange, just d5, opening everything. Because if you take, there's rook fe1, putting the rook on the open file, immediately threatening checkmate here. You'd have to go queen to h6 here, and then like knight d6, and you're completely winning this position. Queen takes e6 is the best move. What happens if we go king to e7? Knight takes king d7 apparently. Then there's just this, which is completely winning. So king g8 is losing. After king to h6, there's just f5 here, and let's say you take the pawn. There's just knight takes f7, winning the game immediately. So king h6 is not good. If you go king h8, it's even worse than king g8, because after here, now queen h3 is also a threat. g6 here, and this position occurs where you're just completely losing. Like let's say this or this, probably the better one takes, and then like c takes, and this is just better for white because they're just up a queen. So with the process of elimination, uh, this move is bad, this move is bad, and this move is bad, meaning that the only move to survive is king to g6. I decided to give a check on d3. They played f5, blocking the check, and here I go for queen to g3, maybe preparing a discovery to win the queen. They go for king f6 here. I go rook a e1, bringing the rook in, maybe in the future to take this pawn. They go rook d8, and suddenly I'm winning, but I don't know it. Okay, apparently knight h7 was the best move. After like king to f7, knight g5 here, queen h4. So what was the point of that? I don't know. But here, I think that's just a waste of time. Queen h4, I really couldn't find anything. King g6, check here. Queen h5, queen h5 here, and you can't defend this infiltration. g6 doesn't work. Queen h4 now. If you go here, there's maiden 2. If you go queen to d7, there's just a takes, and then like king to f7 is forced, and then like maybe queen h7 check. Here, queen h4, here, knight g5, winning the queen. So I was winning, but after queen h4, king g6, I couldn't really find anything here to win the game. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to give a check to see if I could find anything here. I couldn't find one either, so I just played queen h4. They played king g6. I played... No, I didn't play d5. Let me remove that. And here I offered a draw. My opponent accepted it, but there was queen h7, and then like queen h5. I looked at this, but then didn't see anything after this move. So apparently I was winning, but it's fine because it's a draw against a higher rated player. Definitely a nice Greek gift here. Bishop takes h7. This is the first one I've actually ever done. I ha I, I I don't remember getting one online. I think this is like my first Greek gift sacrifice ever. and then like this I was completely winning, and then f4, which was a big mistake. So that is the end of the video, and bye.